Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. How was your day today?
Pretty good day. Pretty good day. Traded on fast markets this morning. Took a couple losing trades, couple winning trades. Then eventually got on the short side of the market. We were talking about that a little bit in the green room. Uh, Keeping your losses small, and then eventually you catch one, and you ride the trend. So it turned out to be a pretty good day overall. How was yours, Coach?
Good. Spread out. Didn't trade much. I had the yen and the euro. The currencies helped me a lot today. But overall, took some good small losses and let my winners ride for a decent day.
Good
It
stuff.
wasn't easy, but
It's
is
not
it
easy.
ever?
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it and doing it successfully. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach for about 2 years since June of 2023, trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep for 2 years. I've been involved in the futures industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share my experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Stuff. Welcome everyone to our chat. Let us know how you did in the chat today. Were you up today, down today? Anything that you learned from today? Maybe you stayed flat. JD says, awesome day, awesome rebound, anchored VWAP off the lows for the win. Nice trade there. Dan Trader, my day was all right. You said I didn't do as well as I would have liked, but I'll take a small green day better than the alternative. Made it out green. Better than like you said, better than the alternative. If I had to learn something, I'd rather learn something with money in my pockets. Uh Lenny Bradford up 30 handles. I like that. You didn't give us a dollar amount, Lenny. Said 30 handles. Go ahead, coach.
That's a very healthy mindset.
Yep.
Um, don't count your money while you're sitting at the table, as the song goes. And when you remove money your um, from your immediate mind, it helps you it calm your mind, because we attach emotions to money less so than ticks. So great attitude, good day.
Tally says small green day. Billy, good day. Caught some of the gold long and ES short. Who else we got? Chris Green tried a 3-minute opening range breakout. Didn't really find the trade at open, so didn't trade. There we go. Right. Hey, I'm running this specific play. I look at it. The market doesn't present the opportunity, so there's nothing for me to do. Not trading is definitely an option. Let's take a look at the Trader Hub really quick. Uh, we had some numbers out this morning. Industrial production month over month came in at negative 0.3%. Forecast was negative 0.2%. Retail sales came in at 1.4%. Forecast was 1.4%. We had a Bank of Canada rate decision. They kept their rates the same. Crude oil inventories came in at 0.515 million. Forecast was 0.945 million. And that was about it. We did have a 20-year bond auction. We had Fed Chair Powell speaking as well. That's what really kind of got the markets going. But anything that you have from the news, Coach?
Well, the economic numbers were well within line. What's interesting, when Powell spoke, that was part of a question and answer. It wasn't an official,
Mhm.
but he did say some things that were interesting to me. Good
Okay.
news when they were asking him about the pressure of if he felt pressure about being removed, and he's very calm, steady
Yeah.
person. That's the kind of guy you want as your banker. Well, like
I'm sure his
anyway,
life isn't calm either.
No, no. But he just brings a great presence. But when they asked him about that, he was pretty steadfast, and it's the law. You can't just remove me. And he's going to focus on doing his job. Then the market broke. There was nothing in that I thought was bearish.
Nope.
Maybe unless people, and I don't believe the large money was waiting for him to say, "Well, I think I'm going to cut interest rates at the next meeting." That wasn't. If you were waiting for that,
I've been
don't be
waiting a long time.
surprised.
Right.
But interesting action after he spoke with they break, but and then rally back sharply unchanged since he spoke. But
Yep.
I think that speech, we were waiting for it, or speech, or that question and answer session. Think that it calmed the markets a bit. There's
One
a
comment
steady
from him
hand.
during that speech: so far, larger than expected tariffs likely mean higher inflation and slower growth. And then we know that the Fed's goal is to lower inflation. So maybe that's what we sold off on. But
Yeah.
anything else on the news, coach, or should we get into the charts?
Let's get into the charts.
Get into the charts. 35 different markets we can trade with Top Step accounts, and today to the downside, we had the S&Ps down 2.2%, natural gas down 2.67%, and the Nasdaq, our biggest percentage mover, down 2.92%. To the upside, we had crude oil up 2.1%, lean hogs up 2.89%, and gold making a new all-time high up 3.49%, for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. We already talked about our big four. They were our top percentage movers. Crude 2.12%, S&Ps down 2.23%, gold up 3.5%. Everything's kind of still moving around right now, and the Nasdaq up Nasdaq down 2.91% right now, still actively moving. I have a Nasdaq chart up here, coach. Go out to
Let's
a
begin.
30-minute chart. Actually, let's go out to a daily,
Yeah.
because what are we seeing here, coach?
But the inability to get over the 20-day moving average, number one.
Yep.
Um, we look at that. We tried and tried all for last week. Got under yesterday's low and broke, which was a normal break. It wasn't um, too dramatic, although at times if you were over leverage, it was very dramatic. But interesting. We're hugging that 20-day moving average and rejecting it. Overall, it's still very heavy. It looks heavy.
Still a
Um,
market in a downtrend.
so anything else on there you see?
On the daily, no. When we did the weekly prep, this is exactly what we talked about. The That 20 moving average being a resistance, 19,380s about the high of that Wednesday candle. This was the day the president said, "Hey, it's safe to buy. Now's a good time to buy," and we had that reaction. Really have not traded outside that range since. So we talked about if we couldn't break up higher, then the potential to test back to 50% and then maybe trade the lower extreme of this imbalance, which kind of looks like where we're headed right now. We didn't get exactly to 50%, but pretty close. Nasdaq was close to being down 5% today. I know a lot of that came from a gap, but we continued to sell off after Powell. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Back under the 200 moving average on the 30-minute.
And we
Coach.
gapped to that,
Yeah, we did.
which that was a whatever the news that came. I think came out of China about Boeing,
Uh,
the canceling China canceling all of Boeing orders.
so there
Uh,
was that, and then there was also, I believe, during the London session, there was news about limiting Nvidia sales in China, which Nvidia being one of the Mag 7 stocks, and we were talking, 5 months ago about however Nvidia moves, uh, the equities are going to move. That's exactly what's happening. Nvidia at one point was down 10% today. Um, you limit the sales of Nvidia in China, it, um, and uh, with it being so heavily weighted in the Nasdaq, we're going to see the effects in the Nasdaq as well. Right. But we did gap down. We gapped down about 1% on the Globex Open last night. What are we looking at here, Coach?
Well, we couldn't get over the 200 moving average. That held. Um, although we traded up to it, we couldn't get over it. It was interesting last night. I guess that was at news out of London. But there was a big rally when London opened up. But once again, couldn't take VWAP out of that range. So earlier today on TopstepTV, we're talking about bad buying drives markets lower. That was a classic case. How far we got, that was a huge rally. But as soon as the buying stopped, there was
Did not
no
sustain.
could not sustain at the 200 bar moving average on the half hour, um, which is classic in a down move. Look at that. Now, what I like to do, and especially we talked about bad buying. This is almost on this was like a buying exhaustion. We talk about a J trade, 90% of it is selling exhaustion. This looked
Yep.
like buying exhaustion.
Which makes sense for the environment that we're in, right? This has been a sell the rally market, uh, and kind of got that right. Once we closed above that high, sorry, closed below that high. It's the same exact trade. It's for whatever reason, it's a lot easier to see these when they're selling exhaustion moves. It's a lot easier to see, but it's the same idea, right? I just flipped the chart over. Here we go. We frame out the high volume. Once we close above that, that's where we hold the rest of the day. Um,
Wow. If you told if I didn't know that, I would just say they're selling exhaustion.
right.
So, did see one, and I was sleeping. Maybe I need to start going to bed early and getting up for
Trade
um,
with Aaron and D during the
Shade with
London
Aaron
session.
and D. How many times have we seen that? But that was classic sell the rip. Once again, we get the US Open. It was kind of sloppy. I actually, on my opening range trade, I lost $150 on a micro. Um, it got stopped out, broke out, but VWAP really didn't leave the range till later. I preceded it. I know, I'll take that trade. But once again, it's almost a symmetry of what happened on the Open in Europe.
Yep.
Had that broke out of that opening range, had big buying volume. It was probably 2 times the average. Didn't leave the 200 bar moving average on the half hour, and once again failed. But once we did break to the downside and VWAP broke out, and it really picked up steam.
So it did. So one thing I was looking at, and I kind of lost track of the picture for the day on fast markets. That high volume that we had this morning was pretty much the range for the New York session, right? You guys can see I'm kind of mapping it out here. Uh, that range in the Nasdaq 18,005, we'll call it 18,500. Sorry, 18,550. We'll call it at the low, 18,735 at the highs. That was the range until it broke. So I think if you trade the range, great. In this case, and if I had to review the trades that I took during fast markets where we got and we did it in the S&Ps, so why don't we switch over there real quick, so since we haven't talked about the S&P, same idea here, right? Framing out some of these volume anomalies from earlier on in the session can kind of help dictate the trades that we take. We were buying it up here at 5,400, but then if we look at VWAP from that time, coach, it was flat. So
N-
the right trade, if you will, should have been selling it up here on that exhaustion, but it's the wrong trade. Plain and simple. We were
Well,
asking for a breakout that was not ready to happen.
yeah. Um, and you know, part of the process. I like the break. I'll take that breakout um, with a reasonable risk. Um, Now, when did it really start? This market is thin. No, this market is thin.
It is.
Um, Market makers have definitely widened their risk parameters in the short term. Um, I, but tough trade. It was tough trade. I ended up
Yeah.
scratching a win on a day, but I caught that late break because it was still under the 200 on the half hour, but covering quick. Uh, wait versus last week where it would just go and go and go. There's some bounce. We're inside, as you marked, we're inside that daily candle.
Mhm.
Um, when the quote unquote capitulation, I won't call it that, but as long as we stay within inside of that candle, we're going to have, I believe, we're going to have action like this. Um, so trade small, take good losses, look for 2 to 1s, and don't get greedy here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nice rejection up right at those 5,400s major psych level up there and rejected from there. And then we can see when the market really started to get going, when Powell started speaking, more volume than the open. And this is where, as a trend trader, if you're looking for a trend to catch, could you have shorted it up here? Yeah. Could you have shorted off the reversal? Would have been a nice trade. Um, but part of what I've been trying to remind myself of as well is uh, if you're looking for trending trades, just wait, right? Just wait for that volume to come in. That volume eventually it's going to come in and push us out of the range, right? I think we said it during the opening call, sorry, during fast markets that we're probably the likelihood of us staying in this range is fairly low because it was a tight range, but we don't get to choose when the market breaks out of it. But look at this volume once we broke out of that range. Immediately, if we attach a VWAP to that, they said, okay, let's continue to sell it. This is when Powell was speaking. Maybe you don't want to trade when Powell was speaking, but if we didn't know he was speaking, from a technical perspective, volume picked up, sellers came in, and that's where we really started going.
Was that a 2 to 1 trade there? I think so.
Selling right here.
Yeah, with two
Oh,
ATR.
oh yeah, for sure. Uh,
Yeah, it was.
yep.
And then, boy, was
Two.
it quick.
Yeah, I mean, two ATRs here would have been 20 points on the S&P. You got 40 at this pivot, and shout out to Dakota. He did take a short in the Nasdaq and rode that for, well, I think almost 250 points. Uh, but it was a beautiful trade once the market started going. And when I review my trades, and traders, you can do the same. Uh, if you're a range bound trader and you traded this morning and you were aggressive in this range and assertive in this range and taking your setups, great trading. If you're a trend trader and you call yourself a momentum trader and you got chopped up in this, ask yourself whether or not you actually waited for your setups to play out. Because once it did, it was pretty clear. Um, and then if we look at this, there is really no clear direction. So taking directional trades, and I'm reminding myself of this as well, taking directional trades in this environment just is not the right idea, right? The market is not uh, facilitating those trade ideas. He said, "What is this word? Wait." It's a four-letter word. What do you mean? I gotta wait to take a trade? What the hell is that?
You know, patience is a virtue, but I don't have the time. Um, that 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 can affect us as traders. That's why following a routine, looking for a specific trade in a plan with a four-step routine can to me is extremely important. You know, it's interesting. Also, late in the day, when you get that kind of move, when we were on those lows, and I think the S&Ps were 150 lower at that point. If you're
uh,
short,
oh,
why
down here?
wait? Yeah, down there. Even if look for something. If it hasn't hit your target, you know that the market's short and it's in the last half an hour. There's a high probability that there's going to be some short covering,
Yep.
and we did get it. Whatever it is, you see buying, or if it breaks a small trend line, um, know the situation. If that was like on the opening, it'd be a little different story. But it's getting late in the day, and a high probability is going to be some short covering. And boy, did it picked
They
up
covered.
steam. And
They covered. I mean, and if we look at it, look at how far we were away from that VWAP from the New York session, coach. We got pretty extended here.
yeah,
Almost 10 ATRs on a 3-minute chart. So pretty
and,
extended and came right back to it.
and you know, one other thing we don't look at a lot, but in this situation, the RSI um,
Mm,
was extended.
David Green indicator. Yes, it was
And
extended to the downside.
extended hard. Well, I will tell you this: don't enter shorts when it's extended like that.
Hmm.
Like, but the key point that I want to bring up is this isn't tight, but be aware where how close you are to the opening or the close. And whenever if that was a rally and if we flip that over, you can expect there's going to be counter trend before. Um, don't get greedy, and I've seen this. It's like, well, you know, it's gonna. How many times does it close at the high of the day or the low of the day?
Why don't we look at a daily chart? Look at all these wicks. Look at all the wicks. I mean, there's a couple. There's whatever this day
Yeah,
is right here. There's a couple of them, but there's a wick on a lot of these daily candles. And I'm pretty sure even more if we look at the Nasdaq.
yeah, and it's something to understand. Um, Now there's people that would look at that and go, "I'm going to find a place to buy it," and that's I don't. That can be very good plan, but unless you have it where you have it planned out and know your risk, don't do it. But always, you know, observe and orient yourself. Um, but boy, I didn't expect that wicked of a rally late, but it happens.
Speaking of wicked rallies, why don't we go over to gold that is continuing to make all-time highs? We talked about this a little bit yesterday, coach. Can't sprint a marathon, but gold just needed a little bit of a juice break and continuing to rally. Closing the day at 33.54 half, new all-time highs 33.58.40. When do we hit 3,500?
Maybe tomorrow. We'll
Where's
look for again. We talked yesterday. Where's the buying coming out of?
Starting in Asia,
Okay, let's look at that half hour.
take a look at
It's,
the half an hour. Wow.
yeah, this is probably the best one I've ever seen.
My God.
That was 120 points, dollars. Um, Now, yeah, and it came out of Asia. Picked up, and actually started picking up steam in Europe. We finished near our highs. This is blowout stuff. Now, I'm not going to say that we've said that one day you might see it up $300-400 and finish $200 lower. When we were watching that, when we saw that copper trade, we'd have to see something very dramatic like that, and we're not. This is how. I mean, this could continue to 4,000. You could. I mean, it doesn't.
Yep.
Price doesn't really matter. If you're short, you got to get out. Who's selling it?
I think Goldman, we said it yesterday, right? Goldman's target is 3,700 for the year. It's only 10% away. Gold had a 3% move today. I don't know that this rally is stopping anytime. And whoever's selling it, coach, I have to ask Hoag next time I'm on with him. But in January, he was talking about those negative delta numbers increasingly getting larger, uh, increasingly more negative. Negative delta meaning more market orders sells than buys, and that was when we were trading, you know, almost $700 lower in gold. So if they're selling it, they're just continuing to fuel this rally higher. Uh, when they have to get out because the rally continues. Like you
Yeah,
said, though, on a shorter time frame, on that 30-minute, that's one of the best examples we've seen of that trade. Where was I when this was happening? That's what I have to ask myself.
just in time. It's funny. I'm looking at a silver chart. Let's look at silver.
Look at silver. Let's start with the daily on silver. Uh, a lot of these other metals, they're in these kind of ranges. I'm sure if we look at platinum, it's the same thing. Uh, but what are we looking at here on the daily in
It's a
silver, Coach
much
Paul?
different trade, isn't it?
It is.
I don't. I'm not trading silver. It's the first time I've looked at it, but we did get over the 200 yesterday. Settle above the 200-day moving average. We're at the 20. Um, it's look at that. That's a complete different. So
Completely different.
it's silver is more of an industrial metal. Um, it is what's interesting is I forgot this fact. It's a byproduct of copper mining.
Silver is.
Yeah, a lot of silver. Now, it's silver is a hybrid. It's not a precious metal. It's in between, but it's tough. I stopped trading silver a while ago. I like owning silver ingots. I can afford them at the time. Um, but let's look at the half hour. So we've been above the 200 bar moving average. Then last night on the opening, everything got bought. Um,
It's a
but
huge
it
trade in
sure
silver.
didn't finish like gold.
At the highs, no. Nope, pulled
No,
off the highs a little bit. It's a nice trade. If you were trading last night, right? By the time we got to the New York session, look at this. I mean, if we look at regular trading hours, which is we'll call it the equity hours. I mean, nice trade if you're a range bound trader, because on that equity open, we can see this volume spike here on the 30-minute, highest volume of the day. We didn't leave that range afterwards, so there is opportunity in that as well, fading the extremes of the range until it breaks. That VWAP is as flat as it can be. So any extensions give us an opportunity to sell against it or buy at the lows. but completely different chart. And D said she traded copper today. Take a look. Copper looks very similar. A lot of these metals on a daily chart on daily charts are in these higher time frame ranges. Platinum was the same thing. We talked about, platinum kind of being this rinse and repeat trade where you're buying it somewhere in the lower 900s, selling it again at 1050, and rinse and repeat until that stops. Uh, Gold is really the only one rallying right now, Coach.
Yeah. Now let's extrapolate. Why would gold be on a that once again, it comes out of Asia. It
Mhm.
comes in size. Um, I can't say who it is, but I am got a strong suspicion it's a big central bank.
Hmm.
But hey, I don't know. All I can do is follow the flow. And then, by the way, these other ones had good trades in there. But if
Yeah.
you just see this is a great example of finding your plan, where you're going to interact to take the risk. Um, Without that, in these kind of markets, you can get. I mean, it's like getting caught in a storm in the middle of the sea.
Hmm.
You can get thrown all about, get seasick, get thrown off the boat. Um, Gold is a much different trade. Um, and maybe, I mean, to me, it's the place to be. Now, as we've seen, look at platinum, very
Uh,
much like silver.
I'm looking at copper here. D said she traded copper this morning. This was a nice trade during the New York session, right? Where we saw silver kind of consolidate. A beautiful trade there as well. There's opportunity in so many different markets. I know we default to the equities a lot. Platinum, decent trade last night. It's funny. With looking at some of these metals, they either rallied during Asia and chopped during New York, or chopped during Asia and London and then rallied during New York. I don't know if there's a correlation there or what's going on, but what are we looking at here in platinum, Coach?
Let's look at the daily. Well, look at that 200. We've been buying the dip. Platinum is starting to act a little better. Um, but it's still, what is the price of platinum?
976.
It's still under $1,000.
Telling you, it ranges from it got a little bit extended over that crazy volatility that we saw last week. 950s at the low, 1050s at the high. That is not trading advice. For any of the information we talk about here is for but look at platinum on a higher time frame. It likes these prices.
Yeah,
Looks like that crude oil chart.
it really does. So gold is being bought by, in my world, gold is being bought by an entity because they're
There we
not
go.
doing it anywhere. They're not allocating to metals at large. It's specifically gold.
Let's get through a little bit of the questions we have here. We
Yep.
got some requests for a couple different markets as well. DL asked Jay and Paul, what time frame do you guys use to determine your entries? Most of my levels are going to come from a 30-minute chart and some type of volume analysis. My entries are going to happen on a 3-minute chart. What about you, Coach?
For day trading, I use the half hour for the direction I want to take, and and thanks to Coach Jay, I've gone to the 3 minute. On a longer term, I look at the daily and the half hour. But we're day traders, so half hour to the 3 minute.
Good stuff. Warren Mikes had a similar question. Do you use a 30-minute chart for setups in the NASDAQ ES? Yeah. Usually when we're on TopStep TV, if you guys are seeing the screen that I'm sharing, it's a 3-minute chart just because that's the chart that I'm executing on. But I have another screen up, and if I'm looking at other markets, I'm never usually looking like if I have 6 different markets up, I'm not looking at each one of those markets on a on a execution time frame. Right, I'm looking at it from a higher time frame perspective, 30-minute chart, and seeing if it's in an area of interest, and then zooming in from there. Uh, Coach Paul, did you check out the peso today?
Yes, I did, and I'm a little upset. I have to wait till tomorrow to get okayed to trade the Mexican peso because my broker went, "What?"
So-
And
Hold
he
on,
knows
why?
I'll trade anything.
Right,
But well, it was a great trade today. Thank you for bringing it up. I will be trading it in my portfolio.
good stuff.
Um, let's look. This is the half an hour. We talked about this yesterday. It's trending up nicely. And last night,
Coach Paul tried to trade the peso, and they asked him what elementary school he went to. They're just like, "Hold on, we got we got to make sure this is Paul. What the hell is going on here?"
and they're used to me trading anything. But I wasn't okay. But we'll be by tomorrow. Nice trade last night. We used our half hour. Once again, I'm a directional trader. I only take one side, so I'm looking to buy it. And I watched this last night till this morning, and it's like, wow, that was a beautiful. That almost looked like gold.
Yeah, very similar.
Um, this whatever the fundamental reason is, most likely related to trade war or um, nice move, and it looks like it's oh man, all the currencies except for I don't look at the Australian in a while or the Canadian, but yeah, Mexican peso still looks good. What the heck
Yeah,
is this? The Australian?
this is the Australian dollar. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. It's got to get over that 200. But here, look at look at that volume on the break. This is
oh
could be
yeah,
a J trade on a daily.
yep,
That's on my radar.
yeah. I've been looking at these for to take some swing trades, Coach. Uh, Margin requirements aren't as crazy as margin requirements in the equities. Uh, they're nice trades. They're nice. Just I don't look at them. Sometimes I feel like I get busy during the day trading other stuff. But for set and forget higher time frame trades, thank you for bringing these to my attention. I'll say that much.
Well, that's definitely on the radar. Why? That could be that's exhaustion on. Wow. This is a daily?
This is a daily. Yep.
Let's look at the weekly just quickly. So we have that the huge volume on the lows of for years. Now,
Yeah.
yeah, look at that. Hmm.
Yeah. We talk about a bunch of different markets. Coach Paul at any given time is probably in 6 different markets at a time. Um, What we don't wanna incentivize here is just bouncing around to 30 different markets trying to find a trade, especially during a day for a day trade. Some of the information that we're giving out is just kind of what we're looking at in general in the markets. But you'll notice that there's something that doesn't change regardless of the market that we talk about, and that's the technical approach to them. Uh, this could be cattle. Could be the Australian dollar. It could be the S&P. Could be crude oil. Could be gold. Could be the
Me-
treasuries. The
Mexican
technical approach
peso.
is not going to change. And that's why you could pull up a chart, Coach Paul. You look at it for 5 seconds, and it's just like it's either, hey, I'm not interested in that at all, or hmm, that could be intriguing, right? And it's because you look at the same thing every single time from a technical perspective. Uh,
Well, you know, it's a routine. Part of what we do here is, and we do the same routine. If you've been with us for a while, when you have a routine, it helps eliminate randomness. That you get pinpointed to a trade that you're looking for that's defined, that you can then define the risk, accept it and not be focused on this is going to be the trade that defines my year, or or you're half. The worst is being half in. I want to make money and I'm going to try that, and then you have no exit strategy. It's a random approach. When you have a routine, you can pinpoint and be patient. If it's not there, it's not there.
Yep.
But in the technicals, in a technical world, there's literally a world of opportunity. So if you don't have a routine, if you don't have a plan, it's imperative that you develop one.
All right, Coach Paul, could you discuss how much time you prepare for your morning trades? And then for nice, we'll look at the 30-year bonds right after this, right after we answer this question. How much time do you
All
take to
right.
prep in the morning, Coach?
I actually I prepare it at night. I'm looking at markets all the time, so I'll give you in the morning. I look at for equities for day trading. I look at we do it all the time. Morning, the opening range breakout trade.
Yep.
So I'm prepped. Is it under the 200 moving average on the daily? Okay, I'm going to be aggressive to sell it on the breakout. I won't wait for VWAP. Um, and it's real simple. If it breaks to the upside, I'll probably wait for VWAP. Then I'll do a one micro for for most accounts here. Then next thing I'll look at, also I'll be looking at the NASDAQ and do a micro NASDAQ if it, and that's my simple daily day trade. Other things, now I'll start looking at, like last night, Japanese yen. Here's the one. I don't have to wait for the morning. Japanese yen. We talked yesterday, yen and euro currency, looking for buys. When we had a nice movement in the yen, first half an hour, we broke out of the range.
Oh, wow. This is another one.
Yeah, that helped my day today. Because they're trending. So I know, but by the way, I don't have between this and coaching basketball, I don't have much of a life. But no, seriously, I've been doing this long where it's why I've come to the point is it's a routine. To my routine is something I do all the time. So I'm prepared. One of the things that I learned, thank you, Peter Stottlemyre, take one side of the market. What I've done is taken one side of a market and instead of being a 10 lot trader, I'm a 1 lot trader in 10 different places, up to 10. Maybe I don't have any on, maybe I have 3. Mostly it's about 3 to 5. But I know what I'm looking for. I have a routine. And then once it happens, I just do it. It took me years to get over trying to just make money. It sounds like but it doesn't sound right. What do you mean you're not just trying to? No, I'm trying to execute a plan.
Yep.
So that's my routine. I know it. I know. And then I look for the opportunity. Yen was one. Now with a $5,000 or a $50,000 combine, I can't do this. And so I do the opening range trade in the equities for the day trading. I know what I want to, if I want to buy it or be aggressive buying it or selling it, I'll wait, risk 2 ATRs and keep it simple.
Yep.
I truly believe this. The more you trade, the more decisions you have to make. It's hard. You're putting more and more pressure. Um, Today I had a VIP remind me, and I used this term. I've used it. Lose if you're going to lose, lose early, lose small. So I like the opening range breakout trade for day trading. Um, so it's becomes simple for me. I don't overthinking. Man, I was guilty of that for a long time. Don't
Yeah.
execute plan.
Just execute. Just shoot the ball. Just shoot it. All right. Let's take a look at the 30-year. Shout out to D over there joining us, sipping on some Aperol over there.
Nice.
I dated this girl for a little while that had a Aperol Spritz summer, and we just drinking Aperol Spritzes all the time. It's a nice summertime, springtime drink. Maybe you're sitting out by the water or something on a boat somewhere. It's a good drink. It's a good drink. Uh, 30-year bonds, coach.
30-year bonds have just calmed down. They're the place they're crushing. Today they crushed it again. Volatility. We look at the daily.
All right. Are we on the
uh,
daily?
Bouncing off that huge drop. I'm still to the sell side here. Didn't find a good place to sell it today. I'm looking at the half hour. From last night. Really just went sideways.
Yeah, we did. Trying to
There
find the
was,
candle. There it is.
yeah, yeah, trying to, and you'll see that VWAP stayed within that range. Had some short covering on the close. Interestingly, I'm really kind of flat the interest rates. Looking at the 5 year, who is this guy? Mexican peso 5 year
Mm.
was a different trade
Hmm.
today. So the short end is being bought. Yeah. So 5 year actually looks like a good, decent place to buy. But the bonds are in another world. Um, and that makes sense. Why? The bonds are long term instruments.
Okay.
The Fed can affect the short term from, you know, overnight rates to, the Fed rate to 2 years. The 5 years is about the far end that they can directly affect. So I, the bond market got spooked last week. I'm still looking to sell it. Looks like that yield curve is going to come in a bit. Looks like short-term money is going into shorter-term structures. Very interesting movement. Bonds became really hard to trade. I really didn't find anything I liked, but I did buy 5 years.
Okay.
Um, so, and I think that the bond volatility is not going away. But I'm still looking for a place to sell it. It could go up without me, and I won't be short, and that'll be good.
There we go. There we go. All right. I think we got to most of the questions. We just got one more that came in here. For bullet traders, do you guys trade YM? I do. I like the YM. And I think I talked about this a little bit earlier. On my personal account, I'll trade the YM a little bit more than I will the Nasdaq, just because of the volatility. YM's a great market. Uh, What's better in your opinion, focusing on one single market and mastering it in each session, or trading three different markets, one in each session?
Awesome question. It, for if you're starting out, like you have to master one.
Yep.
So whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be the Nasdaq. Maybe you master crude oil, or maybe you master gold, micro gold. Um, but master one and set your routine, your plan. Your plan is your routine. That you can do it without emotion. And I mean emotion of worrying about losing. Like it's easy to accept the risk because you've done this before. Master that and for a year, then add another market. In my opinion, and then do up to three. But you can't do three if you haven't mastered your process. That's the number one on the hierarchy of successful traders. Mastering some process. Do it in one market. And then absolutely start expanding.
Stuff, coach. Great answer. Uh, Thank you, Andrew, as always, for sending this over. Tomorrow's price limits, because today was going to be the quietest 5% down day in the Nasdaq that I've ever seen. The market's just orderly sell off. So just be aware of these prices. You guys can take a screenshot of them. Uh, Put them on your charts, put a line on your chart. 5% up is only going to apply to the overnight session. Once we get into the New York session trading hours, these 5% or 7% limits do not exist, so we don't have to worry about them. 5% down. Remember, for Topstep XFAs or live accounts, if markets are within that or 2% within that 7% limit, aka 5% down, we should be flat in XFAs or live accounts. You'll probably get auto liquidated from those positions. Combines, you're good to go. You can continue to trade past those limits. Right. So take a screenshot of those, put the numbers on your charts, and be aware if we get close. And if you're watching Topstep TV, you're gonna hear it. Uh, anytime we get close to one of those limits, somebody is saying something about it.
And while you're doing that, hit the like button.
Oh, there we go. I don't think we I don't think we said that
We,
today. Hit that like button if you haven't done so
we
already.
don't beg too often.
We don't, and I don't. I usually don't hit the like button myself. So let me go ahead and do that there. Where was that pause on the ES? Okay, so tariff pause is what we're talking about. That was April 9th. April 9th was that date. We're on a 30-minute chart here in the S&Ps. That range in the S&P, 50.25 at the lows, 53.88 at the highs. You can see we're trading in that range right now. Right. So what I'm looking at is a 30-minute chart on April 9th. This is the 12 p.m. Central Time candle on a 30-minute. That was that tariff pause. And then right before that, the president saying, hey, now's a good time to buy. All right. Anything else you got before we go, coach?
No, just to reiterate, develop your routine, your plan, and just eliminate all the other noise and emotion. But once again, plan your trade and trade your plan. You'll get better.
100%. Remember, tomorrow is Friday this week. Good Friday is on Friday, so the markets are going to be closed. Topstep TV is going to be off, so tomorrow is the last day of the week for us. Uh, so capital preservation every day, but tomorrow's the last day of the week. Don't do anything tomorrow that you have to sit for 3 days and think about. Like Coach said, trade your plan. Don't blow up anything, and be ready to trade next week, right? We'll talk. I'll be on Slow Markets with Dakota tonight. But remember, we have classes all the time. Coach Hoop and Coach Coach Hoop doing a class right after us at 4:30 Central Time in Discord. Then Coach Rain, Coach Vince, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Central Time. Dakota for slow market to 7:30. Aaron trades at 1:30 Central Time for the London Open. D is going to be at 3:30 for the Euro trade. And we'll be back for the opening call tomorrow at 7:20 a.m. Central Time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Andrew, as always, for helping us run this segment. Coach Paul, thank you as well. And go tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.